Hey, it's Jason. It's currently 2018 and there's a ton of camera choices out there right now, but I still use my Canon 5D Mark II. This was my first camera ever. If you don't really care about how I started photography and you just want to know if the 5D II is good in 2018, skip to this timestamp right here. So again, this was my first camera and it all started in 2014 when my family and I went to a trip to Japan. I experienced a whole new culture, visited different places, and I had a great time with my family. But I wish I had footage of these experiences. During that time, I really didn't know what videography or photography really was. So my brother asked a friend if he could borrow a DSLR, and the friend said yes. And so I asked my brother, like, what is that? Can I try it? And then the first photo I took, completely dark. Second photo I took, garbage. But the third photo, still garbage. But for the fourth photo, everything lined up. The autofocus, the auto settings. This is the first sharp image I've ever taken on a DSLR. My brother noticed that I was really interested in this camera and I kept playing around with it during the trip. So after the trip, he decided to buy me a beginner camera. I got the beginner camera and then I started to research on it, and I found out it was a Canon 5D Mark II. So this was definitely not a beginner camera, but my brother said he got a really great price on it from a friend, so he bought it pre-owned and gave it to me. Once I got the camera, I immediately went to Google and searched how to take good photos. This was the birth of my videography and photography hobby. I learned about all the basic stuff like ISO, shutter speed, aperture, all that juicy photography stuff. I took countless amount of photos with friends at like several different places. When my friends and I got old enough to drive, we started driving around and finding different places to shoot. Took trips to the beach, the mountains, and even the streets. Anywhere that was really aesthetic. The Canon 5D Mark II was released all the way back in 2008, and here I was using it back in 2014, and I'm still using it to this day. When my brother bought the camera, it came with this lens. It was a Canon EF f2.8 24 to 70mm lens. This camera was released all the way back in 2002, which makes it almost the same age as me. The fact that it still holds up in 2018 blows my mind. I mean, just look at these images. I've only recently bought a 50mm f1.8 lens right here. It's currently on it, and now I'm learning all about the nifty 50. I'm still learning so much about photography and videography still to this day. There are some things that I did not like about the 5D Mark II. For video shooting, there is no autofocus. I do understand that filmmakers love using manual focus for many of their shots, but when I want to vlog like Casey Neistat style, it's not really possible to keep everything in focus. There also wasn't a flip out screen on the 5D Mark II. So because of these limitations on the video side of this camera, I ended up using a different camera that I'll be talking about on a separate video. Now, would I recommend this DSLR for beginning photographers? Not really. There are better technologies nowadays for more affordable prices, but the 5D II still produces sharp, vibrant, colorful photos. It's just a little lacking on the video side. If you're mainly taking photos, I would say that this is a great camera because it's a full frame sensor and the image quality on it is amazing. If you're looking for a vlogging camera that has a flip out screen, that has more than 1080p 30 frames per second video, and also with video autofocus, this camera isn't it. But if you still think the 5D Mark II is still the right fit, there are a couple of things to keep in mind. What's the condition of the 5D Mark II that you're going to buy? Canon doesn't sell new versions of these anymore. It's a 10-year-old camera, so you'll most likely find it pre-owned on like eBay, Craigslist, any of those things. And if you're gonna buy it off of those websites, you have to figure out what condition it's in. You have to find out what's the shutter count on the camera and how worn out it is, like if there's any scuff marks, if that bothers you. But if it's in good condition, you should consider it. And also, do you have any full frame lenses? Because the 5D Mark II is a full frame camera. If you have APS-C lenses, they'll look really weird on a full frame sensor. The 5D Mark II is a camera that I've been using for 4 years now. I'm really grateful that my brother was able to save up the money to buy me this camera. I will still be using my 5D Mark II for now. There are some cameras right now that are very tempting. I'll leave some links in the description below that discuss whether or not the 5D Mark II is still a good buy in 2018. What was your first camera? What is your favorite camera? Tell me why in the comment section down below. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.